News broke earlier this week that Apple is reportedly considering making a $2 billion per year offer for the exclusive global broadcasting rights for all of Formula One. Now, this deal would be very similar to what they currently have in place with Major League Soccer, where all of the games, all of the team info, all of the interviews are all in one place in the Apple TV app. So today I'm going to explain why Apple is so interested in Formula One and why this actually may not be that bad of a deal for Formula One either. But first, let me paint the picture for you guys a little bit. And it starts with Lionel Messi. When Lionel Messi signed with Major League Soccer this past summer, many people were surprised. He had just ended a 20-year career in Europe, playing for FC Barcelona and PSG. He had also just won the World Cup with Argentina, finally capturing the one trophy that he valued most. And that's without even mentioning that Saudi Arabia was willing to pay him $1.6 billion to be the face of their domestic league. Now, keep in mind, Saudi Arabia's offer came with a sizable amount of money up front in cash, and they don't have a personal income tax. That means that literally no one else on earth could have matched their offer, at least financially. But that's why Major League Soccer got creative. They ended up coming up with a package where Inter Miami paid him about $50 to $60 million per year in cash. They then went to Adidas, who is the official kit supplier of the league, and Adidas did a deal with Messi where he gets a percentage share, a royalty essentially, of all of his jerseys that are sold across Major League Soccer. And the nail in the coffin was Apple. Now, Apple had previously paid $250 million per year in a $2.5 billion 10-year deal for the exclusive broadcasting rights to MLS. So they went to Messi and they said, hey, we will also give you a royalty-based deal for every new Apple TV Plus subscriber and MLS Season Pass subscriber that you bring us on our network. And that got the deal done. Messi ends up signing with Inter Miami, and he's been here for the last several months. But also, from Apple's standpoint, the deal couldn't have gone better than it is so far. For example, MLS Season Pass gained more subscribers in Lionel Messi's first month than in the previous 9 months combined, including 110,000 new signups on the day of Messi's debut alone. Furthermore, about 20% of those MLS Season Pass subscribers are also subscribing to Apple TV Plus, leading to the platform's best ever month with 833,500 new U.S. customers in July alone. And now, Apple wants to replicate this success across other sports leagues. For example, many of you probably know that they signed a deal with Major League Baseball for exclusive rights to Friday Night Baseball throughout the season. They reportedly tried to buy the Pac-12 broadcasting rights before that conference evaporated earlier this year. And the company has even been linked as a potential strategic buyer of Disney's ESPN business. But all of this pales in comparison to a $2 billion offer for Formula One. And I'll explain. Now look, Apple is certainly going to face some challenges if they actually want to get this deal done. A $2 billion bid is a great start. That's about double what Formula One currently makes on their broadcasting rights from all of their agreements. And that would represent about 77% of Formula One's $2.573 billion in annual revenue last year. So it's a big chunk of the business, and it would be a huge upgrade from what they're currently making. But Formula One just signed a 3-year, $75 million plus deal with ESPN last year, and they have a bunch of other agreements with like Sky Sports in the UK and Ireland, and many other broadcast networks in other countries throughout the world that do not end for another 5 to 7 years. So this would have to be staggered for a point of time, and then it would have to extend to the exclusive deal that Apple is looking for. But the juice might still be worth the squeeze for Apple, and I want to explain why through a couple of different bullet points. Number one, Formula One is unique because it is literally the world's only global sport. If you think about the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, MLB, even the Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, all of these leagues, none of them are truly global like Formula One. Their audience is huge and it's everywhere. And the reason why this is so important is because Apple's a global company too. They have more than 520 stores in 26 different countries, and they make billions of dollars in annual revenue from countries like the United States, United Kingdom, Japan, China, India, Germany, France, and many others. And to give you some context on just how big the Formula One audience is, Formula One says they had 1.54 billion cumulative global audience last year for races. Each race averaged 77 million viewers. Keep in mind, the Super Bowl has just over 100 million viewers in the United States, but there's 20 to 25 different Formula One races every single year that get 77 million average viewers. And the attendance has gone up a lot over the last several years. Total F1 race attendance last year was 5.7 million people, which was a 36% jump from pre-COVID in 2019. But secondly, Formula One's audience isn't only good for Apple because it's huge. It's also perfect for Apple because it's young. It feels weird to even say this because former F1 CEO Bernie Ecclestone literally hated social media. The drivers weren't allowed to use it in the paddock. The teams could not use official race footage on social media either. And he was famously quoted as saying that he didn't see any value in it. He thought social media was stupid. And if there were companies looking to advertise to a younger audience, they should try to go reach out to Disney instead. But still, even with all of that happening, since Liberty Media took over the business, they did F1 Drive to Survive on Netflix, the average age of a Formula One fan has gotten tremendously younger, about 10 years younger than it was in 2017. And it now is significantly younger than virtually every other major sports league. If you look at MLB, their average fan is 57 years old, NFL is at 50 years old, the NHL is at 49 years old, the NBA is at 42 years old, and Formula One is at 32 years old. So Formula One's audience is huge, it's young, and it's global. That literally sounds perfect for a company like Apple. And furthermore, this deal would also allow Apple to leverage Formula One's incredibly valuable intellectual property. For example, Apple is already working on 2 Formula One related projects, a documentary with Lewis Hamilton and a movie with Brad Pitt and Joseph Kosinski, the director of Top Gun Maverick. Everyone has also seen how valuable the Netflix series F1 Drive to Survive has, and there's many other projects that Formula One could work on with Apple through their intellectual property. And the part no one is talking about is that this deal could be a huge positive for Formula One too. Outside of the obvious, which is $2 billion in annual broadcasting fees, roughly double what Formula One is currently making today, the other thing that people need to consider is that Liberty Media acquired Formula One for $4.4 billion in 2017. They obviously did the series with Netflix and they become much more popular. But if I had to describe one word or pick one word to describe what Formula One is going to do over the next few years and has done more recently, it would be control. Liberty Media wants to control more things around the sport. Historically speaking, the way that Formula One has operated is it's an extremely asset-light business. Someone pays a hosting fee for Formula One to come to their city. Formula One doesn't own any of the cars, though. They don't own any of the racetracks. They don't sell the tickets. They don't sell the sponsorships. They don't do any of that stuff. It's up to the hosting city and the promoter to go do all of that stuff. But that's changing. Take Las Vegas, for instance. Formula One just signed a 10-year deal to race down the Las Vegas Strip, and they're committing $500 million over the next decade to this project. But more importantly, this is the first race where they're actually going to serve as the promoter themselves. This is important because they're going to be the ones selling tickets. They're going to be the ones organizing the race, promoting the race, selling sponsorships, hospitality packages, all of that stuff. Now, this is a lot more work, of course, but it also opens up the opportunity for them to make more money by controlling things. Liberty Media CEO has literally said that they expect to make much more money on this race, and my guess is if everything goes well, they'll do more of this stuff in the future too. Another great example of this is this business called Quint Events. Formula One recently paid $313 million to acquire Quint Events. Quint Events is the company that runs all of the trackside hospitality packages at Formula One races all over the world. Now Formula One will own that and control that process themselves too. And it was so important to them that they were willing to pay $313 million for it. So we'll see what happens. Part of me thinks this is a terrible idea. The idea of moving from open-end broadcasting deals to a closed-end streaming deal is quite possibly the quickest way to stunt the impressive growth that we've seen for Formula One over the years. But also, part of me thinks this is a great deal. Obviously, Apple would be super happy with it from a growth perspective for Apple TV. Formula One would make more money than they ever have before. And the consumer would be happy too. If you're already a fan of the sport, it's pretty awesome to have all of the content in one place, not having to go anywhere else for driver interviews, practice footage, qualifying, races, whatever it is. Having all of that in one place is becoming increasingly important, and it's quite frankly a luxury now as the sports viewing experience becomes more fragmented with different players getting all of the different broadcasting rights. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated as the more things come. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and the podcast feed. I do these episodes 3 times a week, breaking down the most interesting stories in sports business. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.